Good morning everyone, and welcome back to a painting demo. Firstly, what we'll be doing today, I've just come up, I meant to start painting actually earlier today, but I've been on the computer trying to sort out my website. My God, I didn't realise how little I knew about technology until I started trying to build the website, not build the website, I'm using WordPress, but do all those, I don't know, it's just so confusing. I've been trying to do, what I'll be doing, I'll be running a free painting course commencing around about the 13th of August. It'll be run on a platform called Fedora. I don't know if anybody's heard of it, but it's going to be a free course, beginners watercolour. I'm going to take about no more than 50 subscribers because I want to be able to get round and evaluate people's paintings if they want to send them in and chat about what they've been doing. But it's going to be a structured course over about 3 or 4 modules. Introduction to watercolour, basic colour theory, because I'm not really into colour theory myself, as you can probably tell looking at my paintings. I don't really get a lot of pleasure out of studying colour theory, but that's me. I just like to paint really. There'll be simple landscape painting, boats, beaches and buildings, and I'm not sure, maybe I'll add something else to it. But if any of you guys are interested that are watching this video in following up with that, just go to my website on the home page, right hand side, you could just sign up there, and I'll take your email address, and then I'll be back in touch when the course is ready, but it won't be any later than say around the 10th, well maybe the 13th of August, because I'm away on holiday for the first 10 days of August, so but I can do some of the work then. Okay, let's get on with what we're here for today. Last week I went out plein air painting, and I did that little watercolour, which is actually a video on YouTube of. Today I'm going to do a studio-based painting based on that watercolour. I can that's all I need now to hopefully to produce a slightly more sort of detailed and accurate painting. I know where I went wrong with my sketch outside, and now it's my opportunity to put it right in the more controlled environment of a studio. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Let's see if we can make a nice painting of it, because it was a beautiful spot and I want to have good memories of it. So okay, we'll get started. Okay then, I've actually painted the scene out now, you can see, drawn the scene out as you can see, just roughly. I'm going to dive straight in with cerulean blue in the sky. I'm going to use a flat brush today, just fancy a change, just to drop in the sky, because it's a small sky area and there's quite a lot going on in the picture, the building and such like. Just keep the sky simple, because you don't want to confuse the scene at all, you know, make it look too messy. Right, I can go right over the tree, because most of that's going to be in shadow. Okay then, now I'm going to just pop in that tree behind the chimney. For that I'm using some, what am I using? Windsor yellow, ultramarine, no I'm not, cerulean blue, and a touch of alizarin crimson. So we'll just pop that in, trying to keep the top of the tree looking a bit interesting. We don't want it looking like a lollipop if we can help it. Just pressing down. When I go in around the edge of a building, all I do is I lay the brush on the paper and press it down, and it does the work for me. We'll just drop this in around that tree. Okay. And I might just lighten it up a bit at the bottom, as if some light's in there. Okay, now we'll leave that to dry, that little bit. Actually, what I need to do
is take these colours. There's a bit of a straight edge there. That isn't going to look very natural. Just going to put them in at the back. Just so we've got a nice light passage through there. Oh, my stomach's rumbling, I'm hungry. It's nearing lunchtime. Okay, let's have a look. Let's just change those colours a bit. So a little bit of alizarin in that mix. Some cooler colour, some grey. Obviously, if you do get involved or you do want to take part in my free course that I'll be doing, I'll have slowed things down a lot and I'll be explaining things in more detail, because it won't be so it'll be better than this, let's put it that way. So don't worry, you won't be wasting your time. Just going to soften these edges around here. I think watercolour, it's all about sort of hard and soft edges. I hear that quoted by lots of artists, and they're absolutely right. You know, you don't want a painting full of hard edges, and you don't want a painting full of soft edges. You want to get that balance in between of hard and soft, and that can be quite difficult. Make sure I've got a good strength of colour, because you remember your colours are going to dry up to 50% lighter than they actually look on the page now. So you want to make sure that you don't end up with something that is just too wishy-washy. You know, you can always go back and do, if your first wash is weak, you can always go back into it and add to it, of course, but you want to make life easy for yourself. You don't want to have to keep going back, and the more work you keep going back, the more times you keep going back over a painting, it loses its freshness. And it's, in my opinion anyway. Nice bright greens here because they're in the sunlight. Whilst there was lots of burnt, but browny burnt bits down here. We'll have some burnt umber. A little bit of right. And the painting, you know, you often look at a painting at this stage and you think to yourself, well, what's going to happen? Is it worth carrying on with? But you can never be sure unless you've actually seen the painting all the way through to the end, whether it's going to be a success or not. Because often paintings they look like they're going to fail, but they actually come to life when you start putting the darks in. So never give up. Really expensive stuff. Now just dropping in some darks here, just I can kind of remember what it was like, because as I said to you, when you actually go outside and paint something from life, it imprints itself on your brain. You know that scene so much better than you would if you just looked at it. But the minute you start drawing it or painting it, it becomes deeply etched inside your head, and it's there for a long time. I'm using a 1/2 inch or a 1/4 inch, whatever it is, flat brush. And paint nicely around the windows. It's kind of just slightly darker that side it was. Gone into concentrating mode, that's why I'm not talking. Oh, that's too weak. Don't like that at all. I don't really want that bleeding into the had a slight, it wasn't actually a shed, it was just a piece of fencing, but we'll just leave that like that. Okay, now I'm just going to go back into the background here, and obviously being in the distance the colours are going to be a bit cooler, so I'm going to use some cobalt blue. It's greyed out slightly. There's a few trees, cut in, go across that tree, because we'll paint over that. It was lovely. There we go. Okay, now we're going to go and put the tree in. And the tree had a nice glow to it. It was reflecting all the colours up. So let's try and get the reference picture over a bit so I can see what I'm doing. It was the right mixture of warm and cool colours. Let's try and get that right, because that's a big part of this painting, the tree. It's what right. Oh, dog's barking. That means Leslie's coming home. Right. Just try and finish this bit quickly. And I can do the others with a rigger later. Hi. Okay. Okay, lunch is finished. Very nice tea. I'm going to get back into the tree now, okay, and just put a little bit of shadow on some of the branch. It's quite. This is just a mixture of burnt ultramarine, burnt sienna, and a little bit of viridian. So just various mixes of those combinations of those colours. Okay, before I go any further now, I'm just going to actually put the roof, the reddish ridge tiles on the house. Just kind of like that. They weren't bright red, they were kind of just reddish. Now I'm going to have a look at the tree and start putting some leaves on the tree. I'm going to start with the lightest green first. Okay, just sort of filling the tree up with, I don't want to obliterate all the branches, but just some of them. And then what I'll go back and do is put some darker greens on afterwards, just so we get a nice effect of the tree. There's a hedge that ran across here. I'm just going to drop that in like that. It's about there. There's Toby again. Must be the postman. Right, we'll move on with this little tree on the right hand side now. And work my way out from that centre. Not being too afraid to go too dark. I think sometimes people are too afraid to put dark paint down because they think they're going to spoil their painting. But actually, as we said before, it's the darks that actually end up making the lights within a painting. And without darks, you won't get the lights. So it's an essential part of any painting. Lots of dark colour and lots of sort of browns and almost autumnal sorts of colours. And obviously it was summer. Darkest darks. Very impressionistic. I make no apologies for that. That's what I like. Drop some colour in there. Obviously, trees are usually darker in the centre. So when you're actually painting your leaves, don't just go plod, plod, plod. Try and be descriptive. Have your brush strokes going lots of different directions, not just the same direction, not equally spaced apart, very as random as you can think you can make them, which sometimes isn't very easy. People do tend to do things in a way which is very symmetrical, and I think that's the word I'm looking for. So try and be as random as you can. We'll get some more darks in the centre after this is dried. So we're preserving some of the lighter leaves. We've got some of the slightly darker ones. And this should give us have a look at my picture. This is where the darkest greens were, right in the centre of the tree. But make sure I preserve some of those lovely light greens that you see through the tree. I don't want to obliterate all the work I've done before. I don't want to cover up all the work I've done before. Easy to do. And with watercolour, very hard to correct. Once you've gone you've gone very dark over areas you want to keep light, it's pretty much impossible because the paper actually gets stained by the paint. So you can't really do a lot about it. So there we go. Just now we're going to concentrate on this part down here before we put, because we've got to get this bit in before we put the shadow on. All sorts of grass and twigs and branches and bracken and all sorts of things growing up here, so we'll try and get those in and be as descriptive as we can. Building up textures as we go. That's what we're looking to do. Now I'm going to be using the side of my brush just to describe the grass without trying to paint every blade of grass. We've got the best bits coming in a minute when we get to put the shadows in on the house and down by the tree. Just going to put the roof in on the rather broken down porch. Just like that. It's going back to the roof and just having a bit of interest on there. Right, we're just going to put the windows in on the house. Just going to literally don't worry too much about it's just literally just a flick of the brush. You don't have to try and paint them in too precisely, unless you want to, of course. If that's how you like to paint, then absolutely fine. I'm sure. I kind of lost myself in my drawing here. For some reason that's down here. There were like that. Something like that. And then we've got the window on the cottage. There we go. They were casting a bit more water on a brush. Going around the casements on the window. Just there we go. Okay, now we're going to put in the shadow on the eaves of the cottage. Try and go around some of those leaves to start with. The quicker you do these things, and I'm going slow here, I'm making a bit of a mess of it, the more realistic they look. There we go. And what we'll do, while we've got this colour, we'll just go underneath the windows, the door. We've got a rather nice shadow which goes quite it goes down. Oh, nice shadow under the door. Always have to remember these shadows will actually, as I've said before, I do repeat myself a bit, I'm sorry if I do, they do dry an awful lot lighter. And I'm just using some ultramarine some Windsor yellow and a little bit of red. That's what I'm choosing. Okay, as I come out of there, I'm going to put a little bit more blue in it. So I end up with the red, I end up with a purpley, greeny, greyy sort of colour. For the tree. Ah dear. And I kind of want to leave some little holes where it looks as if the sunlight's coming through the trees and just hitting the grass. I don't want to have it one big block of shadow, if I can help it. Something like that. Something. I'm going to go back and put a little bit more blue at the top here. Just I'll tell you what I'm going to do, which I haven't done yet, is a little bit of this. I don't want to use too dark a colour on it. The old splattering technique comes in really useful. But don't overuse it. So really now I'm just sort of looking to place a couple of little darks here and there to show off the lights a bit. Maybe one just there. You get those little places that are always just that quite dark, and it's that darkness that helps the other lights show themselves off. And in a minute I'm just going to put a little bit of a texture on the house. It looks a bit too smooth. There we go. if you've enjoyed this little demo, don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more and be notified of more videos. Give it a thumbs up, and yeah, get painting. Ask me some questions. That's what you want. There we go. Okay. Yeah. And don't forget, if you're a keen painter and you want to get involved and you don't know where to start, because the difference between learning with, I guess, somebody like myself, when I learnt, I just read books and I learnt that way, but it was frustrating because I never had anybody to ask or help me. But if you do follow my free course and you get stuck, you can send me an email, and I will reply, and I'll help you as best I can. I really will. So anyway, so if you want to sign up for the free course, go to my website. On the home page, top right hand side, there's a little box there, and it explains about signing up and when the course is expected to start. But it's a course you can do at your own pace anyway. You don't have to do it along with others. It's just, you can do as much or as little as you like. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and hopefully you'll be back for more. Bye for now.